sir. Boom.
We will close the border.
This is an executive order taking a large number of executive actions to secure our southern border.
It's now time for America to wage war on the cartels. We officially designated Trinidad, MS-13, and the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. I will end catch and release. We ended catch and release.
China has to stop sending fentanyl into our country and killing our people.
And now with the signing of the Halt Fentanyl Act, we are delivering another defeat for the savage drug smugglers and criminals and the cartels. My administration will deliver justice for every family whose loved one has been stolen from them by migrant crime, including Lake and Raleigh. The very first bill I signed into law mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program of criminals. We're locating and loading illegal aliens into military aircraft and flying them back to the places from which they came. Kamala's app for illegals will be shut down immediately.
CBP launched an enhanced home mobile app with a new feature, the intent to depart.
Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining me here at Courageous Media. We have got big news, stuff happening over the weekend, stuff happening today, absolutely massive. We've got Trump declaring war secretly on the cartels, although not too secretly. He said he was going to do it during the campaign. He said he was going to do it on Inauguration Day. He signed executive orders declaring drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And now he is just... as the media tries to say, secretly, he has simply directed the Department of Defense and the intelligence services to apply all given assets and capabilities to taking out the Central American and Mexican drug cartels. This is awesome stuff. I want clear and present danger. That's what I want. I want to see us actually go to war with these people. They are disgusting. They are criminals. They're evil. They are murderers, killers, rapists, all of the above. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Again, we've got great news. Trump has taken the next step. We showed that little clip of everything that he has accomplished. The one thing that he hadn't done was literally declare war on the drug cartels. He had called them foreign terrorist organizations. But until now, we hadn't seen the level of action that I think all of us voted for. And frankly, I don't know about you, but I voted for the movie Clear and Present Danger. Yes, I want us drone striking these people. If we want to use special forces, I'm all for it. I want us launching bombs, bombing. I take out the supply chain, take it out, destroy it utterly. Use the Navy to interdict this stuff. When you find a ship, when you find a boat full of drugs, sink the darn thing. Don't impound it, sink it. Impound the people if you want. Interrogate them, find out who their accomplices are, but just destroy this stuff. Absolutely cut the supply out at the knees. And then, hence, cut the supply and the money for these illegal cartels out at the knees. Right now, human trafficking is at an all-time low because Trump has essentially sealed the border. Now we just need to do the same to all the fentanyl that can no longer flow through the southern border, but is now flowing around through Canada. So, hey, let me know what you think in the comments. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Let me know you're here. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's dive right in with Fox News as they break the news themselves.
Fox News alert, we're at war. This enemy, they don't wear a uniform. They're moving fentanyl by the truckload.
I want you to look at the contraband that's in front of me. We have 20 kilograms of fentanyl that's in front of me on this table. That's enough to kill 10 million people. The work that we do is to protect people and make sure that we remove these weapons and drugs off of our streets and hold those criminals accountable who would go forward and continue to use that to harm individuals.
Cartels are now officially in the Pentagon's crosshairs. And it's not just the wall anymore. Trump ordered the kill shot. The days of local drug busts and random motels, they were fun, but that's Breaking Bad stuff. Trump wants to take the fight to El Chapo's front yard.
We're talking about sending military forces to fight against the drug cartels in Latin America. Do you think it's worth sending our forces, our U.S. forces there to take this on?
Cartels where?
Central Latin America.
Well, Latin America's got a lot of cartels. They've got a lot of drugs flowing. So, we want to protect our country. We have to protect our country. We haven't been doing it for 4 years. And we love this country like they love their countries. We have to protect our country. So, we're playing a tough game.
According to the New York
I'm all for this. Yes, we are playing a tough game, and it's time to start taking the fight to these people. It's time to fully implement the MAGA doctrine. Trump has talked about this. Charlie Kirk, I think, probably coined the term. But the MAGA doctrine talks about essentially extricating ourselves from all of the distant foreign entanglements that the global elites, our military-industrial complex, and the deep state and all of the establishment knuckleheads had us spending blood, money, and treasure in places that are 5,000 miles away from us, that have very little to do with our public safety, that have very little to do with our nation's true core interests, extricating ourselves from there. So you see Trump basically getting us out of the Ukraine fight. You see trying to bring peace there. You see Trump brokering peace between India and Pakistan, between Cambodia and Laos, between Armenia and Azerbaijan, in Rwanda, basically pulling ourselves back from being the world's police force in that respect, using trade and other non-military means to affect these things, and where necessary, striking loud, hard, and precise, i.e. the Iran strikes, to prevent us from having to send troops over there. And then at the same time, bringing back the focus to our hemisphere, our continent, and owning and dominating our hemisphere. And that's what this next phase is. We need to dominate our hemisphere. We need to make sure that there are no real foreign threats in our hemisphere. That means essentially kicking the Chinese out in every aspect. That started with the Panama Canal situation, ending the roads and bridges doctrine that China has been trying to implement all over South America, basically saying, no, we're going to own our territory. And oh, by the way, all of the foreign terrorist organizations, the drug cartels that you've used to traffic fentanyl and do all sorts of things, well, now they are squarely in our crosshairs. This is awesome stuff. This is what I voted for.
New York Times, behind the scenes, Trump's moving all the pieces into place to pull this off. Mexico's got a big problemo.
Yes, but it has nothing to do with Mexican territory. It has to do with their country. It does not involve our territory.
So it would be within the United States?
Within the United States, exactly.
El Presidente doesn't comprehende. This isn't a Mexican standoff. This is an order. The CIA is already flying surveillance drones over Mexican territory, gathering intel on the battle space. And Trump's not sending diplomats. He's sending Hegseth, maybe with a new title.
Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Department of Defense, Department of War.
Well, that's what it was for many, many years. You gave me that knife hand, Will. We'll see. Stand by. I don't get in front of the commander-in-chief on that. But our job is to ensure our enemies know exactly what they will do to them if they threaten us, up to and including total war. So we'll be prepared. Stand by. There might be some news on that.
Absolutely. And Scheinbaum's idea that, this doesn't involve our territory, it 100% does involve your territory, because you, Scheinbaum, have allowed the cartels to thrive in Mexico. They essentially own your government. They control whole swaths of the country where Mexican government officials don't even roam free. So no. we have asked for this for too long, and all of y'all, Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, all of the above, have allowed these cartels to thrive. And now we are taking the fight to them. Why? How about 100,000 dead a year? Remember, we went to a 20-year war in the Middle East over about 3,000 people and 2 buildings. When they attacked the World Trade Centers and killed 3,000 people and brought those things down, we went to war with the Arab terrorists, the Islamic terrorists, for 20 years. Fentanyl between the Chinese, basically produced by the Chinese, smuggled through the cartels, are killing 100,000 a year. And so, yes, it is time to go to war over this and to end these drug cartels once and for all, just like we ended ISIS.
This is about protecting the homeland from groups like the Sinaloa cartel. They import fentanyl from China and traffic it into the United States. Look at that. Trump designated them terrorists. And if they get cute, they're getting Soleimani'd.
You know who did the roadside bomb, right? Soleimani. Where is he? Where is he? Where is Soleimani?
Exactly. We saw what happened to Soleimani. We saw what Trump did, and it's a time to take the exact same tact, a very similar tact to what we just did in Iran. No, we don't need a massive invasion. We don't need huge boots on the ground. If we don't put special forces on the ground, I'm all for it. If that's what it takes to take out these cartels, take out their leadership, take out their supply chains, take out their logistics, bring them to their knees, then I say do it. Absolutely 100%. Now, Sheinbaum and Mexico are none too happy about this because now they're squarely in the crosshairs because everybody knows that they have allowed this to go on. Check this out.
President Trump has made no secret about his intentions to root out the Mexican drug cartels, which have smuggled huge amounts of deadly fentanyl across our southern border for more than 10 years now. The president has already classified several cartels as terrorist organizations, and now he's reportedly giving our military the green light to engage those cartels at the border. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responded to these reports, stressing that no U.S. military presence will be tolerated in her country. Quote, "We cooperate, we collaborate, but there is not going to be an invasion. The United States is not going to come to Mexico with the military." Now, looking back at the previous administration, under Biden, over 260,000 Americans died of fentanyl poisoning. That comes out to 1,300 per week. And the cartels only profited from it. In 2022 alone, they made a staggering $13 billion from smuggling both drugs and humans into the United States. Professor, talk to us about the legality and what you see here unfolding.
Well, I welcome this move. I think that the power of these drug cartels is sometimes, as in Mexico and in Venezuela, may be greater than the government itself. And so when these kinds of threats arise to our security, I think the military can be triggered. Look, I was in Washington in the Justice Department at 9/11, handling something that everyone used to think was crime, which was terrorism. And we had to figure out how do we convert that to a war footing. So what we want to do is be careful that we don't have the military, for example, chasing drug dealers on street corners in the United States and our inner cities. What we need to do is make sure the military is targeting our foreign enemies. And that might...
Exactly. That's why we're taking the fight direct to the cartels. And if that means it's on Mexican soil, I'm sorry, it needs to be on Mexican soil. But we cannot have the drug cartels running loose. Here's the problem. The drug cartels essentially have completely infiltrated the Mexican government. Even if they wanted to get rid of the cartels, they are so corrupt. They are so infiltrated in bribing officials. They are so embedded in the Mexican government that it's like a metastasizing cancer. So I think the only way is for a foreign power to essentially go after the cartels directly themselves. Let's go see what happens. Let me know what you think, what you want to see happen in the comments. Want to just shout out, Carl's in the house, Steve Jones is in the house, Greg Bailey. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. All right, we got another story. because Trump is on a roll. At the same time, he's declaring foreign war in our hemisphere to dominate our hemisphere. Trump is also cleaning up the United States of America, starting with our capital city. Check this out. What you saw there, oops. What you saw there was basically the active shooter in the Naval Yard that happened just a few nights ago. You've got now Trump saying, no, we're having none of this. So Trump is now federalizing DC. He's basically taking federal control over DC to allow them to essentially clean this mess up. Check this out. Hold on. Give me one sec here.
Crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening. They've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job. I'm announcing a historic action.
All right. Hey, so we've got Trump federalizing D.C. I don't know why this is so blurry, but just bear with me. So we've got Trump federalizing D.C. The mayhem, the mayhem that is D.C., the failed city that it is no longer going to continue. It is absolutely going to end. Trump has ordered the National Guard in. Trump has basically brought the D.C. Metro Police under the control of Pam Bondi, and they are no longer going to do this cash bail, catch and release nonsense that has been going on. They're going to clean this city up, and it's not going to take very long. And of course, the media is in absolute meltdown mode. Check this out. First of all, from the mayor herself, the DC mayor is visibly shaken by all this. This is just classic stuff.
Public schools, including a free and robust pre-K program starting at age 3. We have a tremendous public transportation system, and we have hardworking people here who are raising families, starting businesses, and hiring workers. So it's very important to me that for all who live here and visit here, just know how beautiful our city is and how proud we are of all that we've accomplished here. We're unique in other ways as well. Though we pay taxes, in fact, we pay more than most states per capita. We're not a state. We don't control the DC National Guard. We don't have senators or full autonomy. Limited home rule gives the federal government the ability to intrude on our autonomy in many ways.
Yes, it does. It gives the federal government and President Trump the ability to intrude. And again, the media is absolutely melting down over this. This is just classic stuff. Here you got these crazy people on CNN. Check this out.
Getting reaction from DC council members.
We are, Pamela and Wolf. This coming into CNN from Council Member Charles Allen of the 6th Ward in DC. His post is, quote, the president taking over local control of MPD and putting the U.S. military onto the streets of D.C. under the guise of public safety is wrong. It's an extreme, outrageous, and dangerous move for our city and the safety of all of our residents. He's the first city council member to react to this whole thing. None of them had reacted really last week to this in any real measure. This is the first time a city council member has reacted and come out strongly on this. We're also reaching out to Mayor Muriel Bowser's office and the office of the Metropolitan Washington Police Department for their response. We started to reach out to them while this news conference was going on. No word back from them yet. The mayor has been fairly muted in her comments on this. She did speak out yesterday in an interview, but did not openly criticize the president for this. It's an extraordinary move. We have to point out, never before in American history has the U.S. president taken over control of the Metropolitan Washington, D.C. Police Department. How is this going to work on the streets? How is it going to work from a command and control standpoint? That is a huge, huge question. And, of course, his threat to do this in other cities, we'll see how that plays out. I think you got to see how it really plays out here first.
Right, and we should also note that he talked about moving the homeless population in D.C., right. Thousands of people, yes. Far already getting...
So, you've got Trump absolutely threatening to do this. And you've got these people going, dangerous, illegal, he can't do this. Yes, he can. He's absolutely allowed to do this. This isn't even an overstep of his authority. Check this out. This comes direct from the 1973 DC Home Rule Act. It gives the president the ability to immediately essentially federalize DC, take executive control over the District of Columbia for 48 hours. Now, he can extend that for up to 30 days if he notifies Congress and gives Congress the reason. Congress doesn't have the ability to block it. It's not like they have to approve it. He simply has to notify them with the reason. This gives him emergency control over DC. Now, if Trump really wants to, essentially Trump could maintain this for 30 days, knock it off for 24 hours, and then reinstitute it for another 30 days. He could do this ad nauseum if he wants to. I don't think that's the point. I think the point is to get this thing cleaned up, get a sense of decorum and law and order back into DC, and then reintegrate the local civilian leadership. But at the same time, trying to figure out how we can fix this permanently, which is really going to take a change in city council and some other things. So we may be in this DC federalization for longer than we think in order to maintain law and order in a city that has gone absolutely off the rails. DC has 3 times the crime of some of the most crime-ridden capitals in the world, like Bogota and other places. It's just absolutely nuts. Now check this out, because MSNBC was also melting down over this. It's just absolutely classic.
Chris, to be honest with you, I'm trying to hold my temper. I think there's an ongoing argument that he's having in his head with Black Lives Matter. There's an ongoing argument that he's having with the questions around criminal justice reform and police reform. It's interesting that he really doesn't really care about what's actually happening in D.C. on a certain level, because he's not trying to get at the underlying root causes. He's not looking at examples of how to address rising crime rate.
Frankly, the underlying root cause is the absolute corrupt and feckless DC leadership. You've got Democrats that have run that city for decades, corrupt, evil Democrats. They don't care about the people of DC. They only care about enriching themselves and promoting leftism. So yes, Trump absolutely cares about the underlying concepts, but the underlying concepts mean we absolutely have to get rid of all of the politicians in DC. Now, you can't do that unilaterally, but what Trump can do is basically walk in and step on them and say, no, from a law and order perspective, we're not doing it your way anymore. That's over. And this will be a boon to the people, the poor people of DC, who have to live with this crime day in and day out. Now maybe they can actually see safer streets.
It's that doesn't require a form of policing that leads to increased incarcerality and the like. Let's look at what's going on in Baltimore. Let's look at what's happening actually in places like Baltimore and Chicago, right? So part of what we have to do is to understand, and Oakland, we have to understand this, Chris.
No, we have to shut it down. When you commit a crime, you go to prison. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming. You commit a violent crime, go away. That's what it comes down to. And you start doing that enough, and you will create some level of deterrence. After you have created the deterrence, after you've shut off the spigot, then maybe we can go back and look at, okay, how do we improve? How do we reduce recidivism? How do we take care of the people in need? But the people who choose to commit crimes, I'm sorry, it's not about understanding, it's about locking them up.
Within the context of Donald Trump's racial politics and within the context of his effort to get Epstein off the front pages. I understand David's point, but when we try to treat this as a rational response, then we lose sight of the actual politics that's being played here. And he's actually trying to give his base red meat to get them off of the Epstein story, and it's on the backs of citizens in Washington, D.C. He's going to undermine the democratic process in the district. And so I understand what David is trying to say, but we need to be clear about what Donald Trump.
Eddie Glad is a complete and utter race-baiting hack. I mean, this has nothing to do with Trump's racial politics. And frankly, the only one who cares about anybody in DC is Trump, because the DC politicians have sold DC out to dry, hung them out to dry, and sold them out to the highest criminal bidder for decades. That's why it's a failed city. That's why it's in mayhem. That's why you've got shooters and crime skyrocketing, because the DC quote unquote elected officials don't care one rip about the people in DC. They care only about enriching themselves and increasing their own power. And Trump is going to put an end to that. Thankfully, maybe now I can feel comfortable going to DC, because I would love to go for the sesquicentennial next summer. But if DC is still a failed city full of crime, I'm not taking my family there. But maybe now, if Trump gets in and actually rights the ship, just like Giuliani did in New York, hey, it'd be a great place to go. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Please smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications. And if you like the content, please share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. In the meantime, please let us know how we're doing in the comments. And if you'd like to support the show, hit that join button. Join us as a member of the Courageous Army. Really appreciate you being here. God is good and he is sovereign. It'll all be good in the end. Till I catch you next time.